you like a sweet little kitten. I'm giving them out for money. You know, if they weren't purebred, I might just give you one. I'd like to know who am I giving them to, though. Documents? You still talk about documents? I didn't even got my own papers. You think when I rescued them I bothered about paperwork? If you need documents, get lost. An animal is chosen with a heart. You see it once and you fall in love. Look, I've got 3 choices. One white, one gray, and the other one black. Why are you so suspicious? I'm wearing dark glasses when there is no sun? I'm not blind, no. Take off my glasses? No way, thank you. You're either buying or you're not. Look, I can see your daughter is getting bored and you really like the kitty, don't you? Oh, so you don't trust me because of my dark glasses. Are you buying a cat or my eyes? Now what? You think Donbass residence permit spoils the breed, don't you? Then take yourself off. You're blocking the view for the real buyers. Okay. I will take off the glasses if you pay for the kitten. Deal? You first. Now, what? You've changed your mind. Why do people look down on women with such makeup, but never a man who hit her? No, my husband does not beat me, God forbid. I would not live with him for 5 minutes if he did. And I taught my son from an early age, you never hit a girl, because a man who beats a woman is a shit. And a man who beats his own wife is a huge pile of shit, best avoided. You know, you want to know how I got this? Well, it's a long story. You know what's worst? I take off my glasses and it's still dark. Dark and foggy. Not so long ago, I was as white and fluffy as this kitten. Everything okay. A husband, 2 kids, a cat and a dog, a house, my own hair salon, holidays by the sea. You know, I sometimes complained about all the hard work, all the stress, but it turns out to be paradise. Our son got a grant to study in Kyiv to become a computer scientist. That's where it all started. Oh God, I just saw these pictures of a bloody Christmas tree and my whole world turned upside down. God, what? Why? And why here? Anyone who's been to Europe and to Russia knows they cannot be compared. The Prime Minister's son didn't live in Siberia, of course, but in Austria. His children go to Europe, oh yes, but ours were sitting there in the Maidan, singing, dancing, drawing posters, making this a happy place. But maybe it would all broken up in a week. But then my son's phone suddenly lost connection. And I lost it. He was there, he was playing his guitar. My heart was ripped apart. Every night he wasn't home, I just lay there as if in a nightmare. And I'd stare at the internet, but what can you see? Fires, beatings, attacks. I wanted to help, but how could I? And then my husband said, you know, apple never falls far from the tree. Oh yes, isn't that so true? I was there myself a long time ago, before independence, in the first revolution on granite they called it. I was studying in Kyiv. I just walked there and felt I need to be there, even though I was from Donbass. In the West, you go with the flow. Here, in our Russified backend, you have to choose. It's like brandishing a weapon in a parade or going into battle. And the battle is even within you. Half of the family speaks Russian and half Ukrainian. So how do you choose? This two-headed mutant eagle is not easy to live with. So I started wearing a blue and yellow badge. This was my decision. Do you think it was easy? It stabbed me in chest with fear. But I learned not to be afraid. I learned to be different. The first day of the hunger strike was difficult, but I soon got used to it. We fed on fantasies. Let's talk about what we'll eat when we stop starving. We were laughing. We were children. And what can you buy children that refuse even food? How can you seduce children who, with smiles and peace, commit slow suicide in front of millions for the sake of truth? I don't know. Yet, it was fun. And for some reason, not even scary. And then, when I was lying on the grass and we were fainting one by one with the ambulance unable to get through, I looked up and saw all those healthy MPs looking down on us like fish from the aquarium. And they were scared. Scared to come down to us. Scared of unarmed, little, hungry children. I felt no hatred, only contempt. And I began to look at the sky, and the fear just flew away. But after the first Maidan, I realized that they can do anything to your child. Your smart, honest, so beautiful child. They can beat him, arrest, kill, and not for nothing, but for complete impunity, and actually get paid for it. If I had known what I could bear. But it all seemed so unbearable, so I just rushed back to Kyiv. I walked there as I was in a church. I stood by the fire, I lit a candle for peace, I prayed. It was a temple of freedom. And I suddenly understood why what my son was saying when I begged him not to come here. It's not terrifying here at all. I remember once he was bitten by a dog, and after that he was scared of all dogs. So we got him a puppy and called him Ralph. And the fear went. It was the same here. Little by little, my son hung a blue and yellow ribbon on his back and did the same thing that I had with a badge. he squeezed fear out of himself. So, are you taking the kitten? Take it for your little girl. She's already tired, and this is not for her ears. Go on and be gentle with the kitty, because she suffered. I wear these because people are scared, and I need to to sell 2 more. Did you prefer the grayish one, or should I say smoky? I used to love the smell of smoke, but now when I sense it, I'm afraid. Or should I say color of a stormed cloud? When it all began, the sky went gray, just like this kitten. Oh, they both look up. See, he likes you. You can tell by the way he's looking at you. They pick it up. Don't be afraid. Just be careful. They stubbed a cigarette out on him, bastards. You just have to treat it once a day. I'll give you the ointment. So tell me, if we swap one bit of colored fabric glued to a stick to another, will we change? Can we exchange our genes, our memory, our blood, our culture, and millions of ancestors? But Crimea has changed, and everything is wonderful there now. My neighbor Raya tells me. We've known each other since we were children, but we were never really friends. Neighbors, you know. Salaries are higher, and pensions, yes. But so are the prices in shops, and prices for transport are off the scales. You only get free cheese in the mousetrap. Everything comes with a price tag. So, let me tell you a story. A girl lived with her mother and brothers and sisters. One day, a neighbor knocked on her door and said, "Your mother is poor and miserable, and look at me, I'm rich and famous. Do you want me to be your stepmother? Then you'll be like me. So, what do I have to do? Just kill your mother, that's all. I'll give you a weapon." So, the girl decided to kill her mother. But the brothers and sisters shouted, "No, our mother may be poor, but we love her dearly." So, the girl started shooting at her siblings. She killed some, wounded some, and some just ran away. The stepmother looked at the carnage and said, "Fantastic. Now it's your turn." And she pointed a machine gun at her. "But you said I'll be like you." How naive. Don't you know why I'm rich? All my life I've killed and stolen. And why would I give anything to you? I have a lot of children and your house is already mine. But your corpse will be useful because I can blame it on your siblings. I'll say I came to protect you, but it was too late. And she pressed the trigger. And my neighbor Raya replied, "Yes, it's all silly fairy tales. How can you make comparisons? People live. The land is inanimate." Well, for some it's inanimate, and they can sell it as a thing. But for some it's living. If the land dies for you, how do you bury it? When a person does, no problem. but a land of so memories. How? Crimea, Moscow, whole Russia? Yet I can never go there now. I can't communicate with people who want the death of our people, our country, who lie so brazenly that it's not even absurd, just crazy. And I can't live in lies. I'm starting to suffocate. And then my cat started squealing. And my daughter was complaining, "Mom, I found her fiance, let's try again." But the cat was 9 years old and I thought she was fertile and gave up. But my daughter, she's 14. She persisted. "Come on, Mom, let's give it a try. I found her a super cat, a hippopotamus like in Bulgakov." And I say, that's what's wrong with this country. We just don't have enough hippos. He scared the life of our little dog Ralph so much that he developed hiccups. But our kitty liked him, so we put up with him for a few days, and a month later it turned out that she indeed liked this unruly pagan. When the man in khaki first appeared, I felt icy cold. I'd seen already how it ended in Crimea, and my neighbor Raya tells me, "Hey, it's nothing. The main thing is that those Americans didn't come from NATO." I say, "What Americans do you mean?" Those Americans who took Crimea from us." "Where did you see them?" "Well, I don't know." "And what about those right-wingers?" "So, did you see them?" She says, "Well, no, because our guys stopped them." At first, after the Maidan, men started gathering in the market square. No flags, no machine guns yet. So I asked, "What happened?" And they say they came to protect from the right-wingers and we have to be ready. Well, of course no one came because it was all a complete delusion. So at the end they started to argue between themselves. It's like in this anecdote about crocodiles, you know? A man is sitting and beating a water with a stick. "What are you doing?" "I'm driving the crocodiles away." "But there are no crocodiles here." "Because I drove them away." How can you be afraid of what does not exist and not afraid of what is next to you in full combat ammunition? How? It's nuts. Someone sends the weapons and sends them to kill. And no need to ask who? The Kremlin, Moscow. Why aren't those who deliver them arrested? You can hear them. Our Russian is different. We have a residence permit on the language, especially here in the Donbass. We have our own melodies, our own words. They all say that Donbass is a mine. Well, you know, I have never actually seen the mines. For me, Donbass is white chalk cliffs, apricots on the lanes, cool ponds and salt lakes where it's so easy to swim and almost impossible to drown. Yet, now they say there are bodies of drowned Russians in the lakes. Water with corpses. An old acquaintance of mine called. She's a judge and has a son in the army. He said, "They've called me up. I have to go." So she asked me, "Will you look out for him?" And I started bringing things for him and for other guys. First food, then warm clothes. And then other women joined me, those who were for Ukraine. One day, I was on my way there, and I met Raya. She looked at my bag so suspiciously, and I got nervous. "Where are you going?" I avoided answering. On business, I'm in a hurry, sorry, later. And she suddenly said, "Do you know your fan is now big in militia?" What fan? I don't know what you're talking about." And she said, "Well, remember Wolfie, your neighbor, the one who ran into you?" "I don't remember any Wolfie." And she said, "Oh well, I warned you." And then I remembered. I was 10 or 11 years old, and Wolfie ran into us, literally, on his bicycle. We were playing, and he was riding his bike right towards us. Everyone screams, jumps away, but he's having fun. He's a king. And he was aiming for me. I stand stock still. He's riding so fast, and there is fear in his eyes. He's afraid, but not me. I don't move until the last second, and then step sharply to the left and push him with all my might. What a squealing. At first, I thought he was dead. And I thought he wouldn't get up. I was not allowed to swear, but he didn't hit me anymore. And my friends. I was with my daughter when I saw him, and we fixed eyes. He looked at me so slyly, and then at my daughter. And then I remember those Lugandons. They kidnap girls. Oh God, my dear Inga. No. No. I didn't run away, but oh, was he watching? I went home and I said to my husband, "Micha, we have to pack everything up. This is serious." He resisted at first, but I screamed, I prayed, I shouted, and he relented. He knew it was serious. He understood. He would face fire and water for his daughter. I knew that. I started to pack. I threw in some things, I took them out, then put in others. Nothing would fit. I burst into tears. And then our Pussycat began to give birth. I gave everything up and tried to help. The Inga looked for info on the internet. My husband completely lost it. The Esmeralda meowed with such plaintive voice, like saying, "You're the adult. It's your job to help." It took us all night, but we gave the birth to these 3 little kittens. One gray, one white, and the other one black. I woke up at 7 and the kittens were whining piteously next to me. She trusted them to me. I realized I'm not going anywhere. Where could I run with a mother cat and 3 helpless kittens? This is unrealistic. And how could I leave her? She has warned me and comforted me so many times. And I say to Mikhail, "You go and take Inga. I'll wait for now and let the kittens grow up a little bit. Here you'd be taken away to build barricades or the trenches, and your daughter would be left vulnerable. But who needs me? I cannot fight. I'm too old to rape, too weak to kill. Don't worry. I'll join you. You can rent an apartment." So I gave them money, cards, and kept minimum. I took them to the bus, set Inga down, and they called me every half an hour until they were away from our territory. So I was left alone. or rather, with Ralph the dog, Esmeralda, and 3 little kittens, and our soldiers. I would go early in the morning to avoid people, but not so early that it would be dark. I kept my head down as much as I could. From time to time I could hear shots, and I began to fear the sky. The buzzing of the planes, the shell bursts, the flashes, and then they targeted that passenger plane. Oh God, there were so many children in that Boeing. There were little babies, one blonde, just like mine, and 3 babies flying with their grandfather. Can you imagine? 3, and at one moment, none. Emptiness. How can you not go crazy? But then I had a dreadful thought. Maybe it's for the best. Because people everywhere will finally understand this horror must be stopped by the whole world. It's not our trouble alone. Please open your eyes. And young guys, why are they dying? For Putler, there's a son of acquaintance of mine, 20 years old, just a boy. And maybe my son will be here soon. And yours as he grows up. Well, when my son grows up, Novorossiya will be here and everything will be great. And then I blurted out, goodbye forever, unwashed Russia. Your land of slaves and masters cruel, and you, blue uniformed oppressors, and you, meek nations whom they rule. She pursed her lips. Is this one of your little made-up poems from Maidan? No, this is Russian poet Lermontov, killed at the age of 26. And she pursed her lips, but I was confused. A dream? Is Novorossiya a dream? People, come to your senses. This is the day before yesterday. This is old empire. This is horror of war. But I gritted my teeth. She would not get me at all. I'm sorry, I say it's an urgent matter. My friend asked me to pass this on. Aren't I your friend anymore? She said so slyly, like, you're on my hook now. Can you help another old friend? What is it? She got out a bank card and she says, you have a son, a computer scientist. Could you help me with the code? I lost it somewhere and he knows the banks. I turned the card in my hands. Is this from there? Take it easy. Those bourgeois are gone anyway, and I have a growing son myself. Maybe God gave me justice. I suddenly realized she'd been looting amongst the corpses of the children from that plane. My hands were burning, my heart was freezing. I understood. This is blackmail. I don't think he can. He's not a hacker, just a programmer, a student. I gave up and ran away like running from the plague, but I saw the verdict in her eyes. Condemned. I ran to our guys with those bales. I waited for cheery things, but no. I felt at once coldness, eyes dropping, looking away. Where is Maxime? They showed me what was left of him. I won't describe it, I can't. They just asked, can you tell his mother? I walked home as in a daze, but could not. I did not dare. But there was Raya on the doorstep. She saw me and screamed. I could not understand what she was saying. It turned out a shell had fallen near her house, knocking out the windows, and she was choking with rage. What's going to happen now? Well, my son and my husband will come and put the new windows for you. This is all your oppressors, your fascists. I say, but how do you know? These are not separatists. There's no signature. And why would they be firing here? This is the junta, and you're their gunner. You led them on. Me, a gunner? That's funny. Funny? Well, we'll see who loves last. She would not listen, so I went indoors. I wanted to fall asleep but couldn't. And then the phone rang. Yes. My friend, the judge, she probably felt it. But I did not have the strength to tell her. How can I tell my friend the worst possible thing? The one that I fear the most. The one I would not wish for my worst enemy. So, guilt crushed me under a concrete slab. So, when they came next morning, I could not resist or object. The dog went wild, barking, defending me. I shut him in so they would not kill him. And this little gray kitten, with barely his eyes open, waddling on those little paws, clung fiercely to the guy's leg. Can you imagine? Clung on hard because he was protecting me. So they burned a cigarette on him. Bastards. Here, take it. For half a price. He is brave and honest. He will not let you down. He's a prince, like Les's Ukrainka, Robert the Bruce. Will you take this little black one? Look how pretty he is, this boy. He will definitely be like the hippopotamus. Oh, are you afraid of him? It's bad luck. Have you any idea what a bad luck really is? This kitten, it brings you joy and comfort. Who needs us, you and me, and our misfortunes, Kitty? Well, I will tell the rest to you, because I have no one else. They took me to the basement and started beating me. You know, I'm not a heroine. I tried to explain I'm just a woman. I begged and begged, all pointless. It just wound them up. They told me to shout, "Sieg Heil." I refused and then I lost it, saying, how I am Ukrainian from my great-great-grandfather, and so is my name and passport, so What land should I protect? Those who defend our land, Ukraine. I defended our soldiers. I carried food and medicine, but I'm not a gunner. It's our duty as citizens. You are the Nazis. What are you doing here? What? Then I was handed over to either Chechens or Ossetians, and they started beating me to a pulp on the face and legs, and hardest of all, on the chest. I started remembering special breath from when I was pregnant, but how can you breathe when your chest is on fire? I looked into those eyes and I saw utter darkness. I knew there was no point in saying anything. Then they swore they were gonna rape me, but they just said all that they were gonna do to me. But it was all so sickening and nauseating that I felt nauseous. And my body succumbed to a continuous pain. At night, I had some respite. I lay there on the concrete floor and I thought about God and death, just because there was nothing else to do. About death, to end the suffering, but how? Smash my head against the wall? Bullshit. Cut my veins? With what? And then I thought about God. Why, God? Why did you create such horror? You know, you're a loser. You're incompetent, God. You create up some bullshit. But then I tried to put myself in God's place, you know, in a feminine way. If I gave birth to a child and gave him freedom, and then I understand that my child is killing and raping other children for fun. And I felt the hopelessness of God. Raya came in the night. There was excitement in her eyes, and I suddenly understand that she betrayed me. No one else. And I asked why. We were friends. I lent you things and give things to your children. Just the politeness of the elite. You always thought I was below your level. And it's your fault. All of it. I haven't done anything, Raya, I swear. I swear on the health of our children. She hesitated. Can I bring you something? Yes. Poison. Do you have any? I'm asking how I can help. I don't care about you, but maybe I could bring something to eat. Well, not for me, but for the kittens and for the cat. Maybe I'll drown them. Don't you dare. Oh, Oh, their pedigree. You wanna make more money. I have one last request. Make sure I will never see you again. She pursed her lips and left, slamming the door. And I lay there and fell into the dark abyss. In the morning, I was taken to the city. At first I was happy, but boy, how wrong I was. I was wrapped in a flag and left standing with a sign. I just said I'm not a gunner or a fascist, but all in vain. And women started beating me. No one intervened. I was no longer afraid of those people drowning in anger and hatred. No, just indifferent. And then I heard flashes. English. The foreigners, they're arguing. They're talking about me. I saw Wolfie. He just looked at me. He barked an order, and I was taken back to the basement. I was allowed to wash in the house, and in the basement they brought me food. First time in 4 days, but I could not. And here he was, Wolfie. He began to say something that he did not want to be with me. I was silent. I did not want to be human. I did not want to live in a world invented by God. I did not want to live. And then he asked about my daughter, and I recovered. I say, you can cut me into small pieces, but I will not say a word about her. He left in silence. I lay down and prepared for death. But suddenly I thought about my daughter, Inga. She's such a princess. And Esmeralda, and Ralph, and the 3 little kittens. No, I was not ready to die. He came back with clothes, and I suddenly realized that I might not be killed because of the foreigners. Wolfie said that I could go, but only if I signed the document saying I had no claims against them, including property. Property? I must get the animals. I came to my house. It was clear when I came to the doorstep it was no longer mine. They took everything. Furniture, jewelry, utensils, tools, washing machine. They even dug up the roses, severed at the root, and Esmeralda's cold body lay on the floor. She had waited for me until the last, my faithful friend. Ralph jumped around and tried to lift her sunken body with his snout. He did not understand. And then Wolfie approached me with this stupid piece of paper. I don't have claims. I said, I need to bury her. And what about the kittens? I rushed around, but they were nowhere to be seen. I was running around with the stupid kiss, 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 not knowing if they understood. But then I saw them peeping out from under the closet. All of them alive. I dug a hole in the garden under the cherry tree. I wrapped Esmeralda's body in a blanket and sprinkled petals. Then I saw Raya on the doorstep, crying. My little son was blown up by a mine. Alive? Yes, but his hand was torn off. These mines were not planted by our soldiers, you understand? I understand. Forgive me. I look up in surprise. God forgive me. I will look after the house. I don't really care. And at that moment, I realized I will never come back here. Never again. I do not want to live with these people, not in one city, not in one country, not on one planet, in one universe. So I said to her, you can live here because I will never come back. Where will you go? I don't know. The world is big. At the fresh grave of Esmeralda, I stood a while and I knew. Unless there is truth, I do not want to live here. I do not want to see this world. I do not want to be human, because I know the truth about darkness, about the disappointment of God. I do not have hatred in my heart. No. Disgust, contempt, a feeling of total nausea. I would like to say to those who brought this on us, not only those who were drawn in, but those who sowed it all and those who did not stop it. You have no idea how small and pathetic all those trivial passions of yours, your desire for power, your business interests, how insignificant they are compared to the horrible black hole you have opened, the abyss into which our land is flying with a breakneck speed. I saw the face of this darkness, and that's why I don't want to be human. I'd rather be born a cat. So, are you going to take this little black? No? I understand. You're afraid of bad luck. You look at us as if we are diseased. Yes, we are guilty of being attacked and running away. Is it better to be killed? I don't know. Maybe it is better, but I'm not afraid anymore. Just what will happen to this unlucky black? He doesn't even have a name. You know, maybe I will keep him to myself, and I will call him Ukrop. And I don't have a home and gets used to a home, but maybe if there is a cat, there will be a house, because it has never been so. Oh, and I'll leave you the glasses. They will help you get used to the darkness.